In this video, we're gonna talk about how I was able to purchase this property right in back of me with no money out of pocket and no credit at all, using a little known strategy that most investors are not using in today's market called owner financing. All that and more coming right up. Hey everybody, it's Jamel Gibbs with the REI Education Academy, helping you close deals consistently in your real estate investing business. And on this channel, what we do is talk about real estate investing how-to videos and tutorials, as well as videos of me actually investing in real estate. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And at any point in this video, if I mention any resources, those resources will be linked in the description box below in case you want to get started with them right away. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. So today what we're going to do is talk about owner financing real estate and why it's important for you to implement this into your real estate investing business. Now, for those of you who don't know what owner financing is basically when the seller of a property, like the one behind me, we're going to use this one as a case study because this is one that I actually closed myself. But what owner financing is, it's basically when the seller becomes the bank on the property. Now, the reason why you want to implement owner financing into your real estate investing business is because by using this strategy, you can literally purchase properties with no money out of pocket. Depending on what you negotiate with the property owner, you can also eliminate having to go to the bank to get a bank loan. So that means that for those of you who are doing buy and hold in your real estate investing business, which should always be a part of your arsenal in order to build that passive income in your real estate business, that residual income every single month, you definitely need to build up some type of capital that you can get every single month without having to work for that money. So owner financing properties like this allows you to do that. And by you implementing owner financing into your real estate investing business, it will literally allow you to take your real estate business to the next level. Again, remember what the long-term goal is in real estate. Yes, you want to be wholesaling properties, but in addition to that, you also want to eventually retire one day. In order to retire, you can't wholesale properties forever because wholesaling is a transactional style business. So you're going to need strategies like creative real estate investing or buy and hold strategies in order to really build that long-term wealth. And in addition to that, be able to build up enough monthly cash flow in order to eventually not have to work on your real estate investing business. So on this property here, I found it a little over a year ago and I picked it up through a direct mail campaign. Now, when the seller contacted me at that time, she wanted $25,000 for this house and it had an ARV of right around $50,000 to $60,000. So that's what the property was worth when I ended up negotiating this particular deal with the property owner. Now, this property needed a lot of work when I first looked at it. And in order for me to make a deal out of it, I needed to get it below the $25,000 mark. But the seller wasn't buzzing on the $25,000. So what I ended up doing is offering the seller owner financing, where she plays the bank for me, preventing me from having to go to the bank and get the loan. And this will allow me to pay a little bit more for the property so that we can make the deal happen. So I ended up negotiating the $25,000 with her as is, and we negotiated a $5,000 down payment. Now, she wanted the $5,000, but what I ended up doing was I negotiated terms with her that will allow me to put down the $5,000 at the closing table rather than coming up with all of that money up front. All right, so I gave her a $100 deposit and we made the deal happen. Now, in exchange for the $100 earnest money deposit, I also negotiated with her that she give me access to the property so I can show potential tenants the property while I'm going through the closing process, and she agreed to that. So I set all of this up front, and then ultimately we made that deal work. So I signed the agreement with her and I put down the earnest money deposit. Now, once I put down the earnest money deposit, I started marketing this property. And the way I marketed it was on a lease with an option to buy. Now, I could have marketed it for owner financing as well, but I decided to do a lease purchase on this one. Within a few days, I ended up finding a buyer and I sold this property to this buyer for $40,000. Now remember, I purchased this property for $25,000 with $5,000 down. I didn't come out of my pocket with anything but $100, which was an earnest money deposit at that time. I ended up selling this property within 7 days to the person that lives in there right now. And I sold it to them as is for $40,000. And when I mean as is, it basically means that this buyer purchased this house knowing that it needed work. They were gonna be responsible for rehabbing the entire property. And on top of that, I asked for a $15,000 down payment. We negotiated a little bit, and the buyer had $12,000 that he can put down. He didn't have the entire 15. And the reason he didn't have the entire $15,000 is because he needed the extra $3,000 to start the rehab. So we negotiated $12,000 down, and I ended up letting the buyer move in to the property. Now, what I did was I took from that $12,000, remember, I had to pay the seller $5,000 as a down payment and close the deal out. So I took the money from the $12,000, I put it down on the house, and I closed the deal. Ultimately, that came out to be about $6,000. The other $6,000 was money that went directly into my pocket. So I made $6,000 up front with none of my own money out of pocket. And the $100 that I put down on the property, I ended up getting back. Now this buyer ended up paying, we worked out a payment plan for this buyer on a lease option for $500 a month. My payment to the seller was $300 a month. So not only did I get $6,000 up front on this property, I also was able to make $200 every month for 24 months, which was an extra $4,800 in addition to that $6,000 that went right in my pocket. So right away, we're into this property in a profit of over $10,000. Now remember, I told you the buyer put down $12,000, but the buyer bought the house for $40,000. By the time the buyer paid the loan down for 2 years, I basically owed the seller $15,000. So the difference between the $15,000 and the $28,000 that the buyer put down was owed to me when the buyer cashed me out a little over a month ago. So if you do the numbers here, we're talking about $6,000 that went right in my pocket up front after giving the seller their down payment as well as paying the closing costs. We're talking about $200 every single month, right? Which was an extra $4,800 over 2 years. And we're talking about the difference between the $15,000 and the $28,000 on this property. Now, as you can see, the buyer, they went ahead and they rehabbed this entire property inside and out. I didn't touch this property. I didn't put a dime of my own money into it. I never put a down payment on this property. Nothing came out of my pocket. It was all through being creative and negotiating a deal that was a win-win situation for me, for the seller, and for the buyer who purchased this property. So that's how owner financing works, guys. Basically, the seller holds the financing for you as the buyer, and it allows you to be able to negotiate deals that you normally can't close as a wholesale real estate investor. If you like this video, be sure to like it, subscribe, and click the notification bell below. Also leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you feel like you can do this type of deal. And I hope this video gets you thinking of the possibilities of what you can do outside of your wholesaling business to add other features into your business to allow you to make more money as a real estate investor. I'll talk to you guys on the next one.